Hello there guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sal speaking. Today I'm really thirsty because it's really hot outside, and why not? So today I would like to talk about school, the Italian school system compared to other school systems of the world. Specifically, I can talk more about the American school system because I kind of know it a little bit. Probably I don't know everything about it, but I think I know sufficiently to talk about it, you know. Hello Michael, how are you? So let me introduce this topic to you guys, and let me explain some things about this topic, and let us talk for a little bit about this. So, first of all, we have a elementary school. We call it like elementary school. It lasts for 5 years, and you enter that school when you're 6, and you finish the school when you're 10, and then you start the middle school, which lasts 3 years. 3 years. So you get there when you're around about 10, 11, 10 probably, and then you finish when you're around about 13. After you're 13, you start the high school. When you start high school, hello. So Crazy for Willy say, come and visit my channel soon. I will put some MTB videos. Ci vediamo, ciao Salvo, salutami a tutti, okay. Yeah, it's very different to the UK. So, and then, hello Tom, hello everybody. So, when you go to high school, you study for 5 years, and this is like the tricky thing about Italy, I think. So you have to basically choose what kind of specialization, if you can say that, and you have to choose what you want to do. Okay, so it's very interesting, this stuff, and it's crazy in a way because it is complicated to choose what you want to do at that age. You're too young. You haven't got enough experience to know what you want to do, because when you choose like the high school, you know, you're choosing your future, because like our school is so divided. It's not a school where you can pick a topic. It's a school where you don't have any chance to pick any topic, you know. And so you have to choose in which field you would like to specialize. For example, there are some people who go for artistic school, so they study arts. Some people do languages. Other people they go to culinary school. Other people, they go to tourism school, and that we also have the classic high school, which consists in studying old languages, ancient languages such as Old Latin, Old Greek, and so forth. Then we have the scientific school, where it is more about math and all this stuff. And I'm not sure that in America is that way really, because in America you tend to choose the topics you do. Also at university it seems to work in the same way. There are some topics that you must take, and among these topics there are some other topics that you can choose from. Here is completely different. We don't have generals here. So even when you go to university, you go to a specific branch, you study a specific thing, and you have no choice to learn anything. Also, something really interesting is the way exams are, the way exams work. In Italy, like for example, university exams, you go to university, first of all you need to book the exam, of course. But bye Michael, you're leaving, I know. Good night. So first of all you choose the the topic you wanna, the class you wanna follow, and then the topic you wanna be examined with, So before your exam, you need to book the exam. This is what I mean. You have to book the exam, and then once you book the exam, the very next day you go to the exam, right? And there are many ways of doing an examination here in Italy. For example, one of the ways we do it here is that we go for a written test or an oral test, which is crazy because the written test is, in America, there's a tendency to have a true, false type of test. Yes, there are also open questions in the American test. Don't make me wrong. I'm not saying that's easier. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's different. But here, usually we don't have any true, false. You can't just answer with a true or a false. You have the chance to, you must answer with open answers. You must answer the questions with open answers. And they will test really if you know the things or not, because when it comes to true false whatever, A, B, C, D, whatever, it is easier for if you have a little bit of intelligence, if you're smart enough, you can pick, you can still almost guess the right question, although don't make me wrong, it's not so easy either, but you have a chance to guess it. But when it comes to it seems to be better for testing your knowledge indeed. But when it comes to the oral test, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff, because the way it works, girls, they go to university. I'm not generalizing here. Of course, there are good girls, but many girls here, for example, in Palermo, they tend to go to the exam dressed up in a certain way, specifically for the teacher, to attract the teacher's attention. And they will very likely pass the exam because of this kind of technique. Some girls even sleep with teachers, and that's crazy, but this happens, and I guess happens all over the world. It's not just a matter of Italy or whatever, but I heard crazy stories about this. Once I heard two girls talking, I was on the bus, and they were talking about the exam, the university exam, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, I slept with a teacher and he made me pass the exam and stuff." That's crazy stuff. But really, these crazy things happen. But and of course, we're talking about corruption here. Yeah, indeed. But so here there are some questions. So you go to a different high school depending on the subject you pick? Yes, Tom Rogers. Yeah, that's perfectly what is about. You choose a specific topic and you study. You go to a specific high school. We don't have generals, okay? We just go to specific places. So, and then how many examinations does one take in Italy? Well, it depends. Depends what you're talking about. For example, usually exams are oral exams. So if you study philosophy, I studied a little bit of music, arts, and cinema at university, and this was a branch of literature and philosophy. That was my university. I studied literature and philosophy with arts, music, and cinema together. But I didn't finish my degree anyways. But the way the exams were, organized, it was like you were going to university, you were like having a oral exam with the teacher, so you were having a discussion with the teacher, and the teacher, like for example, you had to study from 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 books, whatever, and whenever you get there, you have a pre-examination with the assistant, the teacher's assistant, and then if you pass this, prior to that, you need to be prepared, of course, and you don't know what they're gonna ask you, So if you pass the pre-exam, then you're gonna have access to the actual exam with the real teacher, and it's not easy, especially because the material they give you is a lot. There's a lot to study, a lot to learn, and many people tend to memorize things. They tend to memorize things because they learn it by heart, and very likely at the end of the exam, they just leave the place and without knowing anything, they forget all the stuff. This happens also when people study languages. I know several people who study languages, and they don't know the languages they study. They just learn something, they memorize something, maybe they copied at the test. I don't know what they did, but the problem is real. They don't know the language. So if they go somewhere, they will know how to pronounce things, but maybe not. Because when it comes to Oriental languages, for example, Japanese, Chinese, especially Chinese, is a tonal language. So if you don't know the tones, people won't understand a freaking word what you're talking about. And there's no justification. They don't care you're a foreigner. And if you're a foreigner going to China or Japan or wherever you're going, you should respect the country where you're going. And to be honest, I defend the countries where you go to, I think the countries are always right. We're always wrong when we don't know the language. So that's important to understand, Languages is not, when you study languages, it's not just a game. You're just learning something and you need to do it properly. And people don't do it properly. And if this happens with languages, I wonder what happens with medicine. And many times I'm sure that we don't have doctors who actually know fully their stuff, who actually really studied hard in order to achieve their goals. And I am afraid about this, I think that everybody should feel responsible for the way they've learned things. Because when it comes to saving lives, and you don't know what to do, you don't know how to help people, then I wouldn't feel honest. I wouldn't sleep well at night, to be honest with you. But this is true. This is true, man. This is very true. And hopefully people do what they do for the right reason. Today I had a conversation with my family. I was talking to my dad, and we didn't have an argument really, but almost. And I was telling him I want to do this in life. I want to be a musician. I want to be an artist. I want to perform in any way. I like cinema, I like theater, I like music, and I like performing arts. This is what I like, and this is what I want to do. And I don't care if I'll end up being a hobo or whatever. This is what I want to do. So there's no way I will change my mind, So my question is, are schools really effective? Because, for example, the American school systems seems to be quite easy, or at least it is easier than the Italian one, especially high school. It's way easier than the Italian system, believe me, because in Italy, you get questioned every single day. For example, I remember back in the days when I was studying at the classical gymnasium, which is a high school where you study ancient Greek, so all Greek and all ancient Latin language, and you work on translations and things, and you study literature, you study all these classic kind of topics. And I remember the teacher called me up for an interrogation. I know you call like a test, an oral test. That was a test, and she asked me some questions. I didn't know anything. I was just entertaining the class as she was interviewing me. She had some problems with her eyes or something, so she was all the time like putting like eye drops on her eyes, and whenever she would do that, I would make fun of her, and people were laughing. I was just a clown basically, and didn't study anything. And then she gave me a D, I believe, or E because we have numbers. So a 10 would be an A in America, A plus probably in America, and I got 2. 2 is like D or E. I don't know. It's just really bad. So the very next day, I didn't care about studying. I was like, well, she gave me 2, so what is the point in studying, And you know what happened? To my astonishment, she called me up again and she was like, hey, it's your turn again. I was like, well, you called me yesterday, remember that? And she was, yes, but I wanna test you again today. And I was, what the heck? I wasn't prepared, and I think I got another 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's 4, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there's no way, like, my my numbers were really low. I wasn't good, and they tricked me, She shafted me that day. I didn't expect to be called, I enjoyed more entertaining the class and making them laugh, and being a joker and a clown as well. And people were having fun at my own expenses, though, which is crazy. And I remember the teachers saying, you'll never do... I remember teachers saying to me when I was at high school, studying at... No, sorry. I was in a middle school, and I think they told me, you'll never do anything good in your life. You're not good for anything. You're not gonna succeed and all this stuff. And it is crazy because I remember the first exam I took at university was English. Well, no, that wasn't the first one, but one of the first exams I took, and I got the A+ in English. So, I mean, my English is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not mother tongue, but I still can speak English. I can understand it perfectly, and I have a fair good knowledge of the language. And I used to master it very well. And I lived in Scotland for 2 years without coming back home and without speaking Italian for 2 years almost, if not for 4 times in 2 years. I spoke to my parents on the phone, and I used to write them letters, so that's how it goes. But yeah. So Tom Rogers is saying, in my humble opinion, we should all just take an IQ test and be done with exams. Then people should be able to learn properly their subject. Well, the problem is in the system. The school system is not right. It doesn't work in the right way. It doesn't test you, and many times it doesn't teach you to do things, It's like, for example, if I talk about pizza, and if I talk to you about all the different type of yeast and flours that you can find, and the way you make pizza, I'll explain to you. We're talking about theory here, I'll explain everything about pizza. I'll tell you how you need to make a pizza, the ingredients, the amount of ingredients, everything. I'll tell you 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, whatever, 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon, and I'll give you all the right amounts of ingredients. And then I'll teach you everything. Like, I'll tell you, you first put the water, then you put the yeast, then you mix it together, and then you add the flour, blah, 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 blah. But then, the real thing, I think the real thing that is lacking in the school system and university as well is, come on guys, let's get practical here, I want to know in practice how to do things. I want to get out from this freaking place, not be bored about your lesson. I remember when I was at university, there was this teacher who was teaching Italian literature. He was talking for 2 hours in a row without any pause. It was like talking and talking and talking and talking, and he was talking to himself. He was freaking talking to himself. I didn't understand a word of what he was talking about. He was quoting writers here, writers there. This guy said this, that guy said this, but how the heck is all this knowledge going to affect my own life, my own life, For example, I really like Metatron's videos because he talks about history, but in a good way. It's not boring, it's entertaining, it's very smart, and his videos are very educational, and they're fun to watch. But when you go to school and they tell you they talk about battles and things that happened so many centuries ago, and you don't know anything about this stuff, and you get bored, you go home, you don't want to know anything about it, But if you approach the study from a different perspective, then you're going to be interested. For example, if you're talking about Rome, if you're studying about Rome, and then you promise your students that you will take them to Rome and you will show them the Colosseum and all the beautiful monuments we have here in Italy, then this is going to make sense. I like practical things. That's why I also like art, and this is why I also like music a lot. Because music is just, if I push on one key, this key is gonna play, and if there is a specific pattern, if there is a specific pattern to follow, then you must follow the freaking pattern. It's like a Like 1 + 1 is 2. There's no doubt about this. You just need to put yourself in it, understand things and learn the right patterns, and then practice, 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 practice. Practice makes one perfect, that's for sure. It's undeniable. But if you don't do anything about it, if you learn about the earth but you don't actually do anything about it, if you learn how to, chemistry, for example, chemistry can be a very interesting topic. I'm sure there's a lot to learn. There's so many great things we can learn from chemistry. But at the end of the day, if I don't go to a lab, if I don't do experiments, if I don't understand what I'm doing, I will never ever understand what chemistry is all about. And this is true. I am right. And in this thing, I won't change my mind. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stick with it. So, okay, lucky never happened to me, haha, to be called 2 days. This is what Alexandra is saying. Wanderer is saying, good thought. Tom Rogers saying, yeah, I thought teachers saying that only happened in movies. Tom Rogers says, yes, exactly. People learn things by doing them, not by learning theory. I completely agree. And this is the big lack. We're lacking on this stuff. And Wanderer is asking, does Metatron have Asperger's? I have Asperger's. Just wondering. I don't know what Asperger's are. I can look for it, but I'm not sure I know what they're all about. Although I heard this word before. Most of the time, people learn how to do their job not by studying about it, but by doing it. Many adults have said as much. Hello, Antelau, yeah. Hello, everybody. So, yeah, this is crazy. I mean, we are going to school, we are, studying to school, and we don't learn anything. And I think the best teacher of life is traveling. Traveling gives you a better and greater perspective, For example, I live in an island, I am an island guy, a Nile guy, if you can say this. But you guys from the States, and most of you are my subscribers, and you are coming from an island too, and I will explain this, I will explain this very, very easily. People in Sicily is way smaller than any of the states of the United States. I believe Italy fits 3 times into California, or into Utah, I don't know, but I mean, Italy is such a small country, and for being so small, and it is a great country when it comes to education and culture and history, and I could talk forever about Italy and how amazing this land is, but living in Sicily, is a different story. And even living in Italy is a different story, because it's a small land. People, especially people who come from islands, are very somewhat narrow-minded. They are somewhat isolated from the rest of the world. And why did they say Sicily and United States are the same thing? In a way. Because, Sicily is isolated and the United States are isolated as well. Why? Because it's such a big, huge, amazing, beautiful country, don't make me wrong. But capitalism is so strong that every place is like alike, Let's take out New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles and other big cities, and if I'm missing some cities, please forgive me. My knowledge of geography is not perfect, but I know a little bit about the United States. And if you think about it, it's such a lonely country, such a big, huge country. There's a lot of land. Houses are far away from each other, unless you live in New York and Los Angeles, whatever. And people are isolated because, for example, to drive from Salt Lake City to California, to San Diego's area, it will take you 9 to 10 hours drive, So you drive for 9-10 hours, and you're still in the States, and things, although the weather is going to change because it's such a beautiful and vast area, apart from that, I don't think things are gonna change. There's no a huge difference. More or less, things are the same. It's no difference. It's all the same mind, same way of thinking, same way, and it is an island to me. But, Italy is more interesting from this point of view, and probably the north part of Italy is more interesting than the southern part when it comes to other cultures. And I say this, so I speak against my own, land in a way, because, if you live in Genova, you're 4 hours drive from Marseille in France, So, you're freaking close to France, you're really close to Switzerland, you're really close to other countries all around. And you can even easily go to Germany and so forth. So we have an easier way of traveling, meaning if I travel for less time than you do, guys, I can go to France, I can go to Spain, I can go to other countries with people who speak different languages, with people who have different cultures, different education, different things, and the learning is a little bit more easier. I think the problem with the States is that you guys need to get out from the States and travel a little bit more. And I think, you travel a lot. There's so many amazing American travelers, young people who just take, sabbatic years out from their lives and they start to travel and stuff. Actually, this is crazy, but this is true. Italian people are not great travelers. The youngsters don't travel as much as Americans, for example, or French or German people. And German people are really cool. I'm just joking here, and I'm not making fun. Well, I'm making fun of them, but it's funny because you can easily recognize a German guy, a German couple, for example. He will wear shorts, and he will have a shirt, and he will have some pants on the shirt's pocket, and he will have his socks. He will wear his socks until his knees, and that's funny to me, as it's really easy to recognize them. And some of them are somewhat greedy. They buy bread and they make a sandwich and they walk with it and they bring it home maybe. But it's funny, it's different people, different cultures, and Italian people are crazier than anybody else, and we have a bad reputation for being bad with women, but this is not true. I'm sure there are some jerks around who do stupid things, but I'm not one of them. Hopefully I will never be like them, because I don't like what they do. So Tom Rogers is saying, I remember talking to a property developer in London who never studied economics or business studies in his life, yet he is one of the most successful people I know. Well, yeah, you don't need to study to be successful. You just need to be smart, do the right things, be wise, and so forth. When I asked him how he priced a department store by doing that, it was going to sell to a major chain, and he said that he just looks at the price of a similar one down the road and sells it for more. Wow. Isolationist mentalities really are knowledge killers. Yeah, indeed. I agree with you, Tom Rogers. I see the States, and I live there. This is why I'm saying this, as a very lonely country, and this is a shame. Especially also, I went to church, and I went to my church in the States. In Utah is the headquarters, of my church, and I found people to be not very welcoming, especially in the Provo area. It's just different. Salt Lake City people were a little bit more open, but in general, the very fact that American people are independent, and this is a very cool thing. I could talk about this till tomorrow, because it may appear that I'm saying negative things, but it's not the case. I'm just underlining some things, but about being independent is so great, and we Italians need to learn from countries like United States, Germany, UK, and so forth. I mean, almost every country is better than our country, than my country, when it comes to independence. I mean, as an Italian, I feel like I can learn a lot from other countries, because really we are the opposite of independent, and it is crazy, because we live with our parents till we die or till we get married, and that's crazy. But school system really would need to have a revision, if you can say this. They need to check it out. They need to make sure this actual system is working, because to me, really, guys, it's not working. It's not working. They don't help you out to get a job. And I don't want to talk, not even to mention the immigration problem we have here in Italy at the moment. Is crazy. The south of Italy is just suffering a lot. There are so many African people, and they are my brothers. I don't have anything against them, but I think, however, the government shouldn't let them in, because they're not producing anything. They're not working. They're just begging for money. And I saw a cool thing, and that was a great lesson to me. I saw this amazing two African guys who were refugees, and they were cleaning the streets of Rome, which is a very crazy city, believe me. And I think we should improve. We should be more clean, but it's not just our fault. But I could say that, culturally wise, it's also our fault. It is crazy how Italian people are very clean in their houses. They're clean they're clean. They wash themselves, blah blah blah. But many people, especially in the south, they tend to throw papers on the floor, and they don't care about the environment. And this is a big shame. But even cities like Rome, Milan, it's the same thing. Maybe even worse these days. And so Tom Rogers is saying, very true. I think that's the clincher school. I don't know what is the clincher school system need to help us actually get jobs. Yeah, this is what we need to do. And so my idea of this immigrants coming to my country is like, okay, you can come here as long as you work. So what I would do, I would let them work maybe in the lands. I would just open some farms and places. I would give them a place where to stay, a place where to sleep, food, money, and to those who are willing to study and therefore to produce good things for my country, yes, I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, I don't care. I'm not racist, If you're good, you're valuable, you're talented, you need to go forward. If an Italian guy doesn't care about studying, doesn't care about being professional, if an Italian guy is not good as a person, we don't need it in Italy. I mean, we don't need these people. We need good people. So if an immigrant is coming to my country, I'm like, you're more than welcome, as long as you will improve my country. And in a way, it is better. The immigration problem is better in America than here, because in America, the people who go to America work under the table. It's true. They pay taxes. Most of them do. Maybe not all of them, but most of them do, because if somebody will check on them, they will be like, okay, I'm illegal here, but at least I've been paying taxes for the last 20 years. And this is interesting. And also, the way things work, for example, if I go to the States and I enter the States illegally, I can stay there as long as I like. I can have children, I can get married, blah, 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 or even without marriage, I can live there. But then when I leave the country, they'll put a red mark on my passport, and I'll never be able to enter the States, not for 10 years at least. And that's a big problem. But it really helps the economy in the States, because having this, Mexican people who are great workers, and cleaners, and they do lots of different jobs that American people don't want to do, and they do it instead. They are moving the American economy, because the money they earn are mostly to be spent in the country. They don't go anywhere else because they can't. They can't leave the country. Maybe they can send some money to a relative, I don't know, somebody who needs help. But for the most, the money they earn are spent in the same country, and this is moving the economy. Vice versa, on the other end, here in Italy, these immigrants are coming here and they get money here and they send all of their money, if not most of their money, to their places in Africa. Some people come here, they work. I'm not saying that not, I mean, most of them, the majority of them don't work. They just go out on the streets and beg. This is what they do, and you can see them at every street corner every day, and this is just crazy and unbearable, because they're good guys, some of them, but some of them are not even these great guys, and I try to talk to them and try to help them out, because I think, teach a man how to fish, and you will feed him for the rest of his life. That's the concept. I give coins sometimes. I try to buy food to immigrants who are around me because they're my brothers, But I would like to teach them how to fish, not just out it one day or give them a coin. And some people will, get on drugs or maybe drink alcohol, get drunk, and I don't support this kind of lifestyle. Sorry. So this is what I'm saying. Immigration is better dealt in the States than here, because the States is kind of contradicting itself as a country in a way, because you can enter legally, and as long as you pay taxes, you're somewhat fine. I'm not saying you're perfect, but you're somewhat fine. Here, they come here, they can stay here. Even a mayor gives them the citizenship kind of, so they can stay here for free. They get the hospital for free, so they have they can be hospitalized for free. They're really taken care of, and they're still begging out for money, making money, and sending most of their earnings to their families in Africa, which is a great thing. But at the same time, we can't keep on going like this. And I think these people, no matter how good they are not improving our country. Actually, they are slowing down our country, and it's a shame. Even the state, Italy, it appears like a great country who's helping all these immigrants, who's saving them from dying, from drowning in the sea. And this is true. I think the what's the name of it? The Marines, it's not just the Marines, the Navy, the Navy guys are doing a great job with saving these people in the sea, But let me tell you this, and I don't care if I am Italian, but I want to tell you the truth. The truth is, Italy gets money from the European Union for every immigrant we get. Italy meaning the government, not me. I don't get anything because these guys are coming here. But the Italian government is getting money out of every immigrant we get. So after all, we're not so good of a country if you think about it. We are not so unselfish or so welcoming because we're doing this for money. Let us not forget. And I've been very critical, and I hope I didn't offend any of the countries. I think I said the truth because I as you see, and if you listen to the whole thing, you will understand that I'm not saying, I'm not the type of guy who says, I'm Italian, I'm right, and the other countries are wrong. I'm saying I'm Italian, there are some good things here, but there are so many bad things. But also in the States, there are so many great things we can learn from, but maybe there are some things that are not so great, Of course, if you compare the States to any other countries of the world, I think there are little things that should be changed, because for the most, it's a really amazing country, and it works almost perfectly to me. And also Germany is a really cool country, and UK as well. But Italy is just crazy, Italy is just, the Italians are just crazy. And I don't. What about nepotism? Nepotism is a phenomenon that occurs in our universities. We have people who have the same last names as their grandfathers or fathers who were teachers at the same university, and they, for some freaking strange reason, they end up teaching at the same university. So there is corruption, there is nepotism, there's all sorts of things happening all the time. And this happens all over the world, not just here. Here is just like maybe the capital of corruption in a way, together with probably some other South American countries, But here there's a lot of corruption, and sometimes I wonder, because we talk about mafia, and I talked about mafia before in one video that was demonetized, by the way, and that's a big shame. Mafia is the state now. This is what people say. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm starting to think a little bit, and maybe there's some truth in it, because there are so many crazy things happening, and they don't make any sense. I'm sorry if I got to talk about politics. I didn't want to get into politics, or I don't care about politics, but because I don't want to build any different people from different parties, different ideas. We all have our own ideas, and we should respect and love each other. That's the main thing. But the school system is not reliable. Our school system is not reliable for sure. And private schools are better than public schools for the most, although sometimes they're corrupted too. Tom Rogers is saying, I think the problem in Italy comes down to a bit of unemployment crisis. No, yeah, the problem is, and this is crazy, this is another crazy thing about Italy, and I get angry when I think about it. If you're from 18 to 29, the government is going to help you out, giving you a job, if, of course, they find it. And they're going to help you out with some loans if you want to start a business. But when you reach the age of 30, your life is over. You can kill yourself, you can die, it's over. You can't do much about it. And this is very disappointing. This is very true. I'm 32, and for the state, there's no future at the moment. And sometimes this thing kind of scares me up, especially because I would like to have a family in the future. But I'm a fighter. I just can't give up on things. So that's why it's important for me to keep on doing what I do. To be here talking to you tonight, be here on YouTube. It's fantastic. This is my job at the moment. And also, I want to thank my patrons for their support, which is, without that support, I don't know how and where would I be. I'm here, and I'm grateful for the help you're giving me. Tom Rogers is saying, yeah, the key thing is creating more prosperity in other countries, but it's difficult because what do we do in the meantime? Where do the immigrants go right now, if you know what I mean? No worries, man, politics is important from time to time. Yeah, sometimes it's important, and you're perfectly right. If you think, and if you look at it from a human perspective, these guys have nowhere to go. They're dying. They're coming from countries where there's wars and problems, but I'm still thinking that they should come here to improve our land and not just to give us more problems. Although I am the first guy who helps them out and who tries to talk to them and help them out in any way, but it's kind of tricky. But I think if you go to university, if you study just because you want to earn a degree, you are doing the wrong thing. This is what I believe. If you want to learn a language, if you want to learn something, if you want to be skilled at doing something, yes, go to university, do whatever you like. But if you're doing this because of the piece of paper, I don't care about the piece of paper. Well, I've been talking for too much, and I hope this topic kind of helped you out to understand a little bit on how things work here in Italy, or maybe I should say how everything doesn't work in Italy, and this is crazy. Hello, Seeker, welcome. My phone is running out of battery, so I can stay with you for probably 1 minute more, and then unfortunately I have to leave this live streaming, although this is a very good discussion. I think I agree with Tom Rogers, because tonight I talked about Italian school system compared a little bit to the American one, maybe, and also to the other school systems around Europe. They are way different than from the Italian one. I can tell you that we have good doctors here. We have bad hospitals, meaning the structures are not perfect. The doctors are very skilled, and the nurses, they're not really good. They don't really take care of the patients, and there's a lot of crazy things. Maybe next time I'll tell you more about how things work in Italy in the hospitals. Maybe I'll make a specific video around the hospital, shooting some footage of hospitals, and I'll show you some crazy things, how things are really crazy, and the buildings like sometimes look neglected. My brother was saying, this is so funny, that when you go to the States, if you go to a hospital in the States, you enter the hospital and you feel already better, because that place is so good. Everything is clean, organized, they take care of you, and it's fantastic. You already feel good, and you leave the hospital right away. But here, when you go to a hospital, it's crazy. You have to wait forever. If you knock your head or something, unless you're not dying. If you're dying, they'll take care of you. But if you're not dying, you can wait even 10, 12 hours at the hospital, waiting for your turn. And as you wait, if somebody who's dying is coming up, of course, they have the right of way. Then they will take care of them, which is a great thing. I mean, I'm not arguing on that, but it's crazy. Tylenol, what is that, Tylenol? Best of luck for the future. Hope to see you again on another stream. Remember, your fans always support you, Sal. I'm gonna go to sleep now, so good night, everyone. Good night, Tom Rogers. Thank you for your support. Oh, I hope, Seeker, and you will feel better as well. You haven't been very good lately, and your allergies are killing you, and it's crazy. And I hope all of you who have allergies will feel better soon, because this is kind of the season for allergies as well. But yeah, I think I did a good job with this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope to those who didn't watch it, they can watch it later. The battery is running out. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you feel sad, you better call Sal. Good night.